Welcome in to one of my favorite movie minutes that we've ever done. We're getting ready to review Army of the Dead. So, this film is rated 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. That is wrong. 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is wrong as well. It's starring Dave Bautista, Huma Qureshi, Ella Purnell, Tig Notaro, and more. The synopsis is after a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries takes the ultimate gamble by venturing into the quarantine zone of the greatest heist ever. Zack Snyder is the director, and the budget was $90 million. So I'm just going to tell you off the jump. Johnny and I have been texting each other about this all weekend. I loved it. I'm giving it a 5, but Johnny, I'll let you start off.
I mean, I liked it as well. I mean, certainly not as much as you did. I gave it a 4, and it was kind of like a weak 4. So I didn't really believe in it as much as you did, but a 4 is still a good score.
This movie had absolutely everything. So, first of all, most zombie movies, they're kind of the same, right? You have an outbreak, there's panic ensues, what happens next, people die, blah blah blah. Zack Snyder didn't waste time doing that. He did all of that in the opening credits. Like that wasn't even part of the movie.
I I will say the convoy at the beginning was probably the weakest convoy I've ever seen. The lead car is literally supposed to take the hit. Like that's its entire
True,
job, and they swerve out of the
true.
way.
But what I loved about it most was that there was literally everything in it. Like there were so many questions, and we're talking like parallel universes. We're talking Area 51 conspiracies. We're talking you know government experiments. Like I don't know what they're gonna do going forward. They could do a prequel, which I'd love. They could do a sequel, which I could love. They could do both. I know Netflix already has both lined up. I don't know how much we're into spoiling for people. How do you feel about that, Johnny? Should we talk about some of the questions I had?
Yeah, I mean, especially with so many unanswered questions, we got to throw a couple spoilers. Obviously, it was set up for a sequel with the ending. That was like, certainly a sequel, and it was one of my issues with the movie is people get infected with the zombie virus or whatever at varying rates depending on the plot point and exactly what they wanted
Right.
to happen. Some people it's immediate, other people get a monologue out like Dave Bautista,
Sure. Sure.
which is a huge
And that
spoiler, I guess.
but that added to my intrigue of the movie because I think Zack Snyder did that on purpose because you
I
know
was under the assumption that that was just a plot hole, not
I don't
something
think it's a plot
intentional.
hole. So that's the I think that's the difference between me giving it a 5 and you giving it a 4. I looked at everything as like intentional because we look at things like the zombies, there were alpha zombies and then there were kind of like beta zombies. The alpha zombies could organize and they were fast, but they also had this bluish tint to them, almost like it was robotic. And when the alpha zombies bit you, you would immediately become, subservient to that alpha zombie, but you'd have those same skill sets. And then we also found that in the movie, the alpha zombie could procreate like, a regular human would, which begs the question, why are they biting people if they could procreate? Is there an advantage to that?
Certainly seems quicker.
It seems quicker, but then, why procreate at all? What's the advantage to procreating normally? So
It's
I
called romance, Brad.
Yeah. Zombie. There's another reason it's a 5.
They
Zombie
may be dead,
romance.
but they're still alive, in that sense.
And that's another thing. I think one thing that's always most fascinating about when people give their takes on zombies is what do you find scary about a zombie? To me, it's like the speed. The speed of a zombie is very frightening to me. Like the World War Z zombies. That kind of thing. That's terrifying if it were to happen in real life. Um, these ones had these ones had speed and they also organized. They were smart and they're also emotional. So it was kind
I
of like they
did
were
love the
everything.
helmet the main alpha
I
put on. I
That was
I
pretty
want to
cool.
say he did a lot of similar things to the Night King actually from Game of Thrones, but I thought he was executed way better as a character than the
Hmm.
Night King ever was over, 9 seasons of Game of Thrones in the 2 hour movie.
And
I
it shows
also
intelligence. Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and I did like the alpha zombie concept. I think they sort of didn't execute it well because they turned them into this like superhuman, but then at the end of the movie it didn't matter and they might as well have just been the shamblers the whole time. Like the way they were getting mowed down, like they didn't really need to have that distinction.
Well, I don't know. You made an interesting suggestion that I didn't anticipate. You noticed that the guy had the alpha zombie had dog tags, and at the beginning scenes of the movie, he was being moved from Area 51 to wherever they were going to take him, and then he got loose. You know, it almost implies that the government was doing conspiracy or was doing experiments on them, and they wanted an army of the dead, which obviously is the title of the movie. Um, I I think there's just a lot of fascinating rabbit holes that you could go down. You know, when they were blowing up the safe trying to get in, the skeletons um, had an eerie resemblance to the main characters of the movie. One of them actually had a key that Dave Bautista's love interest had during the
Love
movie
interest
before
is
she died.
a strong word for the development. I think they did
Sure.
like two flirty lines in the movie, and then at the end she goes, "No, but I love you." It's
Yeah.
like okay, they kind of
Apparently,
threw that one
right,
in.
right. Apparently, he thought he messed everything up, and oh, well, that's the thing. So in the opening credits, you know, where there's no dialogue, really, you're just watching what would have happened in the outbreak. You know, you could see them; they were pretty much going on an entire.
What you're looking
Basically,
for.
you saw in the sequence that you know they were pretty much a team in the immediate aftermath of the zombie outbreak. So you could see where there could be some background there, and that's something they might delve into in the prequel. But I loved that this was just straight up action, 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 and
Oh yeah,
conspiracy, conspiracy, conspiracy. And
I
to me,
I
that was
I absolutely loved the beginning with the like sort of getting right into it, and then also the main characters sort of hoarding up old pictures and like what their old job was
yeah.
before the zombie pandemic. I absolutely loved that.
And again, like it was just no BS. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this straight up. It's gonna be action, action, action. We're not gonna do any backstory. If needs to be backstory, we'll just mention it and move on. Like all of that stuff that we see in a typical zombie movie, they threw it out the window and said,
It
this is fodder."
it did lean on a trope at the ending I could do without people having to monologue when they're trying to escape. Oh,
Sure,
I have to get my saying in, like I saved you. I have to look longingly at you while we're trying to escape instead of just doing that
sure.
on the flight out.
But that you know, some of those tropes are kind of I almost feel like they're necessary in a zombie movie. And there was
No,
also
because
like
you're writing the movie. If you needed him to catch up or something, like you wrote the movie, just
sure.
put it in a different situation. Like you
Right,
didn't, your
right.
hand wasn't forced. You created this.
But I also love that there was like, you know, I thought the casting was excellent. Like they had great comedic relief. All the acting was really good. I felt like everybody was in like their exact right roles, and everybody got the exact amount of screen
Wait,
time that they needed.
which is ironic because the helicopter pilot was edited in, which is
Right.
why they had
It
didn't really have a lot. It was Chris
was supposed to
D'Elia.
be yeah, Crystalia, and then
Yeah,
Tignataro was the and she did a great job. I can't imagine anybody
yeah.
doing it better than she did. So
Oh, but
um
that's why there's like a little lack of interaction there with the other
right.
characters. I feel like.
Right, right. So all in all, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I don't want to go into too many spoilers. Johnny, I believe you're giving it a 4 out of 5. So that's a 4.5 out of 5. It's not exactly a must watch, but it's a you really should watch this.
Especially if you like action movies, zombie movies, or anything like that, then that pretty much bumps it up. If you're a fan of the genre, to back to a must watch.
Yes.